Today I'm sharing something really special. This is the traveler's notebook I created in Paris last fall, but I want to take you back there first. Picture walking along the Seine in the early morning while the light is hitting the stone buildings, cafes are just opening, and the city feels quiet before the crowds arrive. On Sunday morning we went to Lauds at Notre Dame, sitting in the stillness as the hymns and prayers echoed through the cathedral. Afterwards, we walked across the Seine to Square Rune Viviani, opened our sketchbooks, and started drawing the cathedral right there in the park. We saved our tickets, we tucked restaurant cards into our bags, and we kept tiny scraps of paper from bakeries and art shops. And instead of just taking photos, we recorded the trip in our notebooks. Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. Today, this won't just be a flip through of what I did. I want this to be helpful for you to record your travels too. I want to show you how instead of rushing through a city, you can record your own memories in a meaningful, beautiful way, whether you're traveling across the world or just across town. Not perfectly, not elaborately, just honestly. And this little traveler's notebook can become a home for all of it. Because travel journaling isn't about being a perfect artist, it's about noticing. It's about remembering, and it's about telling the story of where God has placed you for a moment in time. So let's flip through this together. One thing I always encourage when I teach is don't wait until the trip is over to record your memories and make your journal beautiful. Start with intention ahead of time. So before we even left for Paris, I prepped this craft paper insert inside my traveler's notebook, and I highly recommend you do this too. I took a blank insert and spent an afternoon collaging vintage papers, Parisian-themed ephemera, and soft backgrounds onto many of the pages. Some pages have antique book paper, French script, vintage images, soft washes of paint, and bits of artistic expression already on the pages. And then I intentionally left journaling space on each spread. When you prep pages ahead of time, the pressure is gone, the design foundation is already there. You just have to respond to your day. This is a game changer, friends. Instead of staring at a blank page in Paris, I was responding to something that was already beautiful. Don't wait until you're exhausted at the end of the travel day to create from scratch. This will actually make you journal and create in your notebook more, I promise. You can even think of it like creating prompts for your future self. Leave a blank rectangle for a metro ticket, leave a space that says Cafe of the Day, and leave room for a quick sketch. It doesn't have to be complicated. Even gluing down papers and ephemera in your color scheme ahead of time softens the page and makes it feel inviting. By the time I landed in Paris, this notebook already felt like part of the story. So before your trip, think about it. What colors feel like this place? What textures represent it? Do you want it structured or loose? What style do you want it to convey? Let your traveler's notebook become part of the travel experience itself. One of the easiest ways to make your notebook meaningful is by adding real elements from your trip. I like to add things like ticket stubs, museum tickets, restaurant business cards, a tiny cafe receipt, bookmarks from museums, postcards, and even napkins from my favorite places. You don't have to sketch every day. Sometimes just gluing in the metro ticket and writing one sentence underneath of what you did that day works perfectly. Took the ladies to my favorite rooftop restaurant in Saint Germain tonight. That's really enough. Here's some practical tips. Keep a small envelope in your bag for paper pieces. Glue things in imperfectly. Overlapping feels more authentic. Add handwritten dates. Dates matter more than we think. These tiny scraps of paper carry memory in a way photos never will. These pages are my favorites, sketching Notre Dame. When I teach, I tell the students, don't aim for perfection, aim for presence. We sketch these on location. They're not perfect, and we only had about 15 minutes. And honestly, some of the ladies hadn't picked up a paintbrush in years. Your journal is for you, to remember the moment, the sounds and sights around you, and the joy of sketching your trip. So start with basics, like the basic shapes. Focus on maybe one section of a building if you want. One-point perspective captures a building straight on and still looks wonderful in your notebook. Use pen or paint for confidence. No time to erase or build layers. You can add to your sketch later, so try to get the feel of the place and enjoy the moment. Even a 10-minute sketch captures the feeling of being there, and honestly, you're going to treasure this more than a polished photo. Another thing I like to teach is on layering. Layering adds so much richness and story to your journals. So think about adding things like a thin watercolor wash, stamps, vintage paper pieces, light pencil marks, handwritten journaling over the paint, mark making. You can add borders around your pages with bold pen marks. You can add artwork from another sketchbook. I added several pieces I did in a smaller journal and used washi tape to tape them in. You can use labels for journaling. You can use stickers. Think of this as a mini scrapbook of your trip as well. You don't have to fill every page completely. Leaving some breathing room with white space and borders gives your eyes room to move around the page. Sometimes I worked on pages in the evening back in my hotel room, and some things I finished when I got home, like printing out photos and adding more details on sketches I didn't have the time to finish on the trip. Travel journaling doesn't have to happen all at once. Part of the fun when you get home is taking the time to go back through your photos and notebook to finish pages and add the final touches. It really feels like you're reliving your trip all over again, and for many years to come as you hold this treasure in your hand and show it to others as well. Remember, not everything has to be a grand landmark you record or sketch on your travels. Some of my favorite pages are just a simple cappuccino sketch, or the paint color of a door, maybe a list of art supplies I found at my favorite shop. So here's a list of a few ideas you could add to your sketch pages. Write down what you ordered. Describe the smell of a bakery or coffee shop, or even a garden. Sketch something up close, not the whole scene. Tape in one of your ephemera pieces with some washi tape. These pages feel alive because they record small, ordinary beauty, and that's something I really believe in, so record your memories of ordinary moments on your trip. This notebook isn't just about Paris. It holds conversations, laughter with the ladies, prayers and things that I learned, the way it felt to gather and create together. When you journal your travels, ask yourself a few things. What surprised you today? Where did you see beauty in people? What do you want to remember 5 years from now after the memories have faded a bit? What did you notice God was teaching you on this trip? That's when a notebook becomes more than a scrapbook. It becomes a time capsule of your life journey. I hope you've enjoyed this Pages of Paris video as we stepped through the pages of my traveler's notebook and revisited our Art and Faith creative retreat in Paris last fall. This traveler's notebook holds more than sketches and souvenirs. It carries beautiful memories from Paris and Honfleur. Winding streets, morning devotions, long conversations, and the beauty of creating alongside kindred hearts. From painted florals to handwritten reflections, each page is a small window into moments where creativity and faith intertwined between Parisian streets. I hope this flip through feels like a slow stroll along the Seine, peaceful, inspiring, and full of little reminders that art can be enjoyed both in travels and its memories. I hope this encourages you to bring a traveler's notebook or sketchbook on your next trip, even if it's just a weekend getaway. You don't need perfect handwriting or master art skills. You don't need to be an architect to sketch a cathedral simply. You just need curiosity, observation, a few minutes to spare, and a little bit of paper. If this matters to you, make time for it. Even if you're traveling with someone else who doesn't sketch, let them know this is important to you. Build some time into your itinerary to sit and enjoy the process. My husband knows how much I love doing this, and he enjoys seeing me have so much fun painting by the Seine or stopping by the side of the road to get my camera out to capture something I want to sketch later when we get back to the hotel. Travel changes us, and writing it down helps us hold on to it. If this was helpful, let me know in the comments and tell me where your next trip is. I'd love to know what you're planning to record in your journal. And if you'd like more travel journaling videos, I'd love to make them for you, so let me know. And as always, I'd love for you to join one of our Art and Faith creative retreats around the world. You can always find me where I'm headed on my website. I'll see you on the next one.